Yo, what's going on? It's Coach Curb. Long time no see. Everybody been all over the place. Don't know what to say. Family, friends, whatever. But it's the off season. The NFL draft happened, and the Raiders, as we also expected, selected Fernando Mendoza. And also just letting everybody know the rest of the top 10 evaluations and comparisons will be on YouTube. But the pickup for Fernando Mendoza as the number one pick is a pick based off of just his consistency and his professionalism as a quarterback. Just with all the ups and downs that the college football landscape has had with quarterbacks, I think Fernando Mendoza has showed his ability to be the more consistent and pro-ready quarterback from this past last year's, competitors and teams and all that. Of course, they won a championship. Of course, Kirsten great coach. But Fernando Mendoza showed his ability to also the ability to take the pressure of being a quarterback, but also having the ability to deal with the media, deal with the expectations, deal with the pressures in the high scenario games. And I think this Ohio State game is a prime example. I think the game that got him drafted. I think a high comparison for Fernando Mendoza could be a great Kirk Cousins, but number two, David Bailey. The New York Jets surprised most of us. The conversations was Arvell Reese being the best defensive player in the draft. Sonny Styles had a great combine, but David Bailey, with his performance this past year of Texas Tech leading, having a great defense, Jacob Rodriguez, David Bailey showed his quick get off, quick start stance ability to get to the quarterback, and I think they said like 2.5 seconds on average. Well, and I think that's what the Jets have been struggling with, to find a predominant, bona fide, dominant pass edge rusher. They had Quentin Williams, which they traded. They had some good interior rushers, but I think the edge rusher is something they've been looking forward to keep on a roster just to rebuild. I know they had the Sauce Gardner, they had the trades this offseason. Justin Fields' experiment didn't work out well. So I think David Bailey is going to be Aaron Glenn's first pick as the prominent head coach of the team. And hopefully he hopes that David Bailey could be the type of guy that could cause havoc. The expectation for David Bailey being number two pick is obviously the 15 sack seasons, possibly 20. But if he could be a consistent 9, hopefully to 11 sack guy over the course of his long career, I think that would be great. But if the Jets, as the Jets have done in the past, not being able to make right on their talent, he could be a bust. But number 3, Jeremiah Love, the Arizona Cardinals. The Arizona Cardinals have, over the past years, have been looking towards the more aerial aspect of their offense, whether it's tight ends, wide receivers, or even possible quarterback with Kyler Murray. Now they're looking to attack the ground game. As you can see, last year when Kyler Murray got hurt and Jacoby Brissett was their quarterback, Brissett was taking nearly 35 to 50 passes. It looked good. It helped out guys like Michael Wilson. It helped guys out like Trey McBride. But, it's hard to sustain a winning offense in the NFL if you cannot run the ball on the ground. I think Jeremiah Love is a big playback. I think Jeremiah Love is a comparison to Christian in my eyes, he's a comparison to Christian McCaffrey, just because of his ability to be a inside, outside, and a pass threat type of running back. Also the big play threat and his consistency. I think Christian McCaffrey checked those boxes coming out of college. And I think Jeremiah Love has not only the film, he has the numbers, but he also has the longevity and the respect from not only his peers but his competitors as the type of running back that he has. So I think the Arizona Cardinals did a great job of picking a bona fide stud, because sometimes 3 pick, you try to be smart and try to out leverage the competition. I think they did a great job of picking the best possible talent at a position, and Jeremiah Love was obviously the best running back this year in this draft class. Number 4, Tennessee Titans. Last year, you brought in Cam Ward to be the future quarterback. This year, you brought in Carnell Tate to be a future star wide receiver. Now, Ohio State has had a great track record of producing first talent, all-pro wide receivers. Justin Smith-Njigba, Garrett Wilson, Chris Olave, Marvin Harrison. List goes on down the line. Stuff, you feel me? Future Jeremiah Smith coming out in the future. And Carnell Tate. I think the Carnell Tate, as you can see, he has great body control, great ability to track the ball in the air. The comparisons that I've heard from guys in media is Devontae Adams, stuff like that, but which is really hard to compare because you haven't had ability to see him to be the predominant number 1 wide receiver on the team. So I think Carnell Tate is the biggest boom or bust pick for me in this first round draft. Because if you look at it, he's as wide receivers from Ohio State. obviously have the talent, the ability to do what they got to do, But now it's the question of, can you be the number one guy on the team? Last year, the last couple of years, he's had to have, star wide receivers be next to him or be in a slot with him, and then they go on to the draft. And even this past year, he was not able to be the number one guy because he had Jeremiah Smith, who's, on the radar. But I think Carnell Tate has great ball tracking abilities. I think Carnell Tate is a great deep threat down the field receiver. I think if he has the ability to, carve up the short intermediate routes and be able to win the one-on-one battles, as you can see with this curl route, and I think just being more consistent, because with the corners in the league, they'll be more physical and schemes will be more tight. But downfield, deep threat passes over 15, 20, I think that is his bread and butter. And I think Cam Ward, that's his style. I think he's a scramble out, find a guy deep downfield. And Carnell Tate, I think his job is he just got to win. But I do think the Giants did win with this pick. The Knicks did win, ladies and gentlemen. Sad to say. But the Giants did win as well. I think Arvell Reese is a great pick for the New York Giants. I think Arvell Reese is a chess piece that the defense will always need, and soon it's going to be another guy that's drafted who's going to fit the same mold. But I think Arvell Reese sitting behind a great front line that the New York Giants have, and a feisty secondary that the Giants have of this past season. I think he's the missing piece within the middle to help this defense complete itself and be a top 5 defense. Because, the first level, defensive line, has to make the pressure for the runs for the gaps. But I think the second level, they need a second level player to impact the game. I think they have a second level player to go at the players like the Saquon Barkleys, to, second level players to stop the Jaden Daniels runs. The second level players to defend against the intermediate passes from the Dallas Cowboys. I think the Arvell Reese, he already has a God-given ability, size, stuff like that. If he does his film right, if he gets his technique down, and if he understands pass combinations and pass sets and all that, I think Arvell Reese will be a Pro Bowler in less than 3 years, because he already has the stature, he already has the defense. The defense alone gives him a leverage that most teams don't have. Most first round players don't have. So I think Arvell Reese is the biggest upside. Has one of the biggest upsides from this first round. And I think the New York Giants have, it scouted well. It did, they've been doing their thing with Jackson Dart, the Cam Scatterbulls, the Midley Neighbors over the last couple of years. So I think they just continue to apply pressure and add to that NFC East, who's, continuously getting better. Kansas City. I know we talked about it in my last videos. I was telling everybody that Kansas City, they're cooking something up. I was questioning wrong. I was confused with the Trent McDuffie trade to the Rams. They let go of Jalen Watson. It kind of made it obvious and clear that Mansfield Delane was going to be their target pick in this year's draft. They let go of an all-pro corner and a Pro Bowl corner, almost Pro Bowl corner, and Jalen Watson. So the need for the secondary is immediate. We talked about the receivers, we talked about the running backs, we talked about all that stuff for the Kansas City Chiefs. But now it's secondary. But Steve Spagnuolo has a wonderful track record over his tenure as the Chiefs. Defensive coordinator, Eric Berries, DeMarcus Peters, the Legarius Sneeds, the Charvarius Wards, Tyrann Matthews bringing to the team. Now, Trent McDuffie, Jalen Watson. So I think Mansfield Delane will just continue to, play the role and becoming another great Chiefs defender. Washington. So we was talking about, the Giants and Arvell Reese picking up a chess piece. I think Washington has picked up a chess piece as well. Sonny Styles, everybody, ladies and gentlemen, you've seen the combine, the 4.46 40, the highest vert jump, the highest broad jump. But if you watch the film, because you got to think about it, he's playing alongside Arvell Reese. And if you watch the film, he's saving most of the plays that Arvell Reese, you would tend to think that it would be him there, since he's the, the higher pick and all that. But I think Arvell Reese, just to get back here, but you see him more as a pass rusher. But Sonny Styles, he was the true predominant second-level player for this Ohio State defense the past 2 years. And this is one of my favorite plays right here. I think Sonny Styles has the ability to track, sideline to sideline. That's what you want from your middle linebacker. You want guys to be able to track sideline to sideline and make the game-saving tackle. This play right here, fourth quarter, Illinois, he saved the touchdown. And that's what you need from your linebacker. It's the ability to make those clutch tackles at the game. You see the Fred Warners. You see the Ray Lewis's. You see the Brian Urlachers. That's what you need from your middle linebacker. And not only has his ability to just, read zones, drop back, all steps and all that. And this is the reverse flip. I think Arvell Reese has all the physical capabilities that you see on film. But I think on film for Sonny Styles, you see more technique and you see more patience and you see more eyes instead of playing with physicality and speed and force. So I think that is just the aspects of backer that both of these guys have, Sonny Styles and Arvell Reese. So I think the Giants and Washington have made great picks for both. If Sonny Styles, he's going to a Washington defense, Bobby Wagner, he's already there. He's a future Hall of Famer. He has somebody to learn from, and just build on the skills and capabilities. He looks like a young Bobby Wagner if you watch him on film. And this is one of my favorite plays from him right now. Dropping back to a hook curl zone and deflecting the overhead pass. That's what you need.
And what the Saints needed was another bona fide playmaker, and they got one in Jordan Tyson. Hey, I know the injuries. They talk about the injuries from the past year. He missed the whole season, and the injuries within his past year, that, shoulders, hamstrings, stuff like that. But listen, film don't lie, production doesn't lie, and the value that he had within not only in Colorado but also at Arizona State. The combination that he possibly could be with Chris Olave could rival in the year's time of the George Pickens, CeeDee Lambs, Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, maybe even the AJ Devontae Smith. I think they are both great wide receivers, great capability to move the ball downfield. I think that the injury bug is obviously the question that Chris Olave and Jordan Tyson has. But Jordan Tyson, his comparisons has been to Jamar Chase and Justin Jefferson, not only for his body control, but also his yards at the catch, which is shown in this play right here. His ability to not only be a receiver that can win one-on-one, but also be a receiver who could find the spots within the zone, not be too, overzealous, but also separate. Separation is a big, major part of the game. And I think that Jordan Tyson adds that aspect to the New Orleans Saints offense. Not only just to, get the ball downfield, catch the ball, but also got to catch the ball and make a play. So New Orleans Saints, you definitely check the mark with that. And Cleveland, look, you could tell by the office and the smiles, high fives, handshakes, all that, teeth and palms, that they believe that Spencer Fanu could be another great offensive tackle, Joe Thomas, that they possibly could draft in the top 10, who could be a long-term cornerstone piece for the Cleveland Browns. Shador Sanders, you're the guy now. So they're believing in you. So what they're going to do is give you possibly the best offensive tackle there in this draft. But he has competition. Now, listen, Spencer Fanu was great. But Francis, if I might pronounce this right, Manunawi, I apologize. But the offensive tackle from University of Miami, he has shown the ability to be a primetime player, not only his leadership, but his ability to show the force and capability to lead the offensive line in big-time games and protect quarterbacks like Carson Beck, provide spacing for playmakers like Brian Fletcher and Malachi Tony that this past year has shown. So I think the New York Giants have done great with Arvell Reese and now adding Francis M. I apologize. But this is our top 10 rundown. 1-1. Let us know who made the best pick. Let us know who made the worst pick. 1-1. We love you. We out.